What's up guys, and welcome to the first episode of Making Stuff Up, which is a show I decided to start to show you guys what I do to build my startup on the side. In today's video, I'll be talking about Reddit as a user research tool and how I use it to understand the problem and pain points I'm trying to address. You'll learn about how I talk to users on Reddit, what questions I ask, how I identify the right people to talk to, how I use DMs to further the interaction, and much, much more. So if you want to learn more about how to talk to users, especially on platforms like Reddit, this is the video for you. So let's dive right into it. So here is Reddit. Let me do a quick intro. On the top right-hand corner, there are two icons that you should definitely be acquainted with. And these two icons are the DM button and the inbox button. Your inbox shows you replies to comments you posted to different threads on subreddits or replies to threads you've started. And the DM icon just shows you the DMs you're getting from people on Reddit. And then there's Karma, which is a figure to show you how many upvotes you've gotten on your comments as well as threads started on subreddits. I guess if you have a lot of karma, you've either posted a lot or your posts make a lot of sense. And you can get karma from upvotes on threads you've started on subreddits or replies that you make to comments on other people's threads. This is the feed. The feed shows you different posts on the many different subreddits out there, and you can follow as many subreddits as you want. And based on the subreddits that you follow, you will get a feed of different posts from these subreddits. So I almost forgot actually to cover search. This is where you search for subreddits that are of interest. So let's say I'm interested in finance. Typing finance into the search bar shows you a bunch of subreddits that have to do with finance, as well as a bunch of posts. So as you can see, I actually have quite a few replies to all the comments I've made, and that's because I DM a lot of people. I try to post a lot as well. I reply to a lot of threads. And that is how I get a lot of engagement on Reddit. How do you get a lot of engagement on Reddit? You just engage with a lot of people. You post to a lot of threads. You DM a lot of people. You keep replying to whatever replies you get. And eventually you'll get a whole bunch of conversations that you can keep engaging in to extract more and more insights about the problem you're trying to solve. So the problem I'm trying to solve with my startup is the hiring process. And it's a problem right now because I think it's broken. I think it's a huge matching problem because employers are always flooded with job applications that they can't really go through, and job applicants are flooded with jobs that they all should apply to. So they spray and pray, they apply to all these jobs. And because employers are getting hundreds of resumes every single week, obviously employers can't, at least most employers, not the biggest ones of course, but most employers can't reach out to every single candidate to tell them that they aren't qualified for the job. On the other hand, job applicants are just applying to every single job that they can find, which is why there's just a huge matching problem out there. Employers can't find the best candidates because they have to filter through hundreds of resumes, and job applicants can't hear back from the jobs they actually qualify for because employers are just flooded with resumes. Anyways, that's the problem I'm solving. That's just a bit of context I'm trying to give so that I can explain my Reddit outreach process. So how I use Reddit is I try to find a few subreddits that I think are directly relevant to the problem of hiring. So far I've found quite a few subreddits that relate to that problem. For example, Recruiting Hell is a good one. Recruiting Hell is actually Recruiting Hell is a great one because it's full of people who have had bad hiring experiences and want to talk about those experiences. So this directly relates to how I approach Reddit outreach. I try to go for people who have identified the fact that they've had this problem of not getting the best out of their hiring experience. And as you can see, Recruiting Hell is a great community for that because it's directly for people who really don't get it, as you can see here. Post your horror stories and show us those amazing job offers. Well, I, as someone who is in charge of product and user growth on my end, so my startup has two people right now, me and someone else that someone else is my CTO and he's working on the technical side of the product. And what I do is I try to understand our users. Anyways, the only way to understand your users is to talk about their pain points. How do you find those users? Well, you find subreddits like these where they're centered exactly around the problem you're trying to solve. And I have posted on the subreddit before. I can't really show you the thread, but I think it still exists. It's called "The Hiring Process is Broken." I think I posted that earlier. Yeah. Oops. So, do you guys think that the hiring process is broken? This is something I posted on Recruiting Hell. As you can see, I got 27 upvotes, which directly contributed to my karma. I wrote a bit of context around this question, and then I got a few replies. I got a lot of engagement from Redditors interested in talking about this problem. And as you can see, I tried to follow up with every single comment I got. So I replied to every single comment. This is something you should do to make sure that you continue the conversations with these people. When someone says something, especially a potential user, you want to know why he or she thinks that way, why he or she feels that way. That's the only way you're going to understand why a problem is really a problem, and if it's actually a problem for the potential users you're going for. Because just because someone says that something is a problem doesn't mean it's actually a problem that requires a product to solve. As you can see, I'm getting a lot of engagement, right? And what I try to do is I try to continue the conversation. So this is a pretty good example. Look at this reply. Okay, interesting. So this person actually got engagement from someone else and actually relates to a different point I want to make. And it's that when people reply to your thread, other people will see those comments and feel like there's engagement, there's social proof that this concept is valid to discuss. So they then reply to other people's comments, and then you can have a 2 to 3 or even 4-way conversation. So as you can see here, I reply to this person, I reply to that person as well, because that person applied to this person, and then now we're in a 3-way conversation. As you can see, Neuro, Rex, and Bronchitis are now in a conversation with me. And again, I end the conversation by just saying thank you for sharing your thoughts. So that's the third pointer I want to point out, and that is you want to thank people whenever they reply to your thread or to your comment, and that's because people are actually taking their time to share their insights with you. So that's very important to do. So that's really it for just focusing on the different subreddits that relate to the problem you're trying to solve, and then also what you should do within threads that you start. That you should, 1, make sure you're replying to every single comment you get on your thread. 2, you're replying to the comments that are on other comments so that you can create 2 to 3 or 4-way conversations. And that you should always remember to thank people. So that's really it for engaging on threads that you start in different subreddits. You can do this for all kinds of subreddits. And now I'm going to move on to creating your own subreddit. So to target the problem of the hiring process, I actually created my own subreddit called The Art of DM. And this is just a small community that I started 2 to 3 days ago that talks about alternative ways to bypassing this toxic, broken hiring process that I've identified as a problem. So what I'm trying to do now is just create a community of interest by posting resources, sometimes posting opinion pieces, to try to get people who also think the hiring process is broken to suggest solutions to the problem. I have a kind of a rough understanding of what kind of problem, what kind of ways are out there to solve this problem of a broken hiring process, basically how to get the attention of hiring managers. And now I just want to get input from people who actually have the problem, which is why I decided to start this subreddit. And it's really not that hard to start a subreddit. All you have to need, you just need 100 karma, I think. You just need to show that you're sufficiently engaged within the community, and then you can just click on this create community button that will become available to you. And once you create the subreddit, you can just go on different subreddits and talk to people, try to engage them into a conversation, and then maybe DM them if the subreddit you're on doesn't allow for a solicitation. And if it does, just posting a quick shout out for your own subreddit. So that's really all. That's really just a basic intro into how you can use Reddit to find potential users to chat with about the problem you're trying to solve. And yeah, that's really it. So I hope you guys found my very, very brief overview of Reddit as a user outreach tool, as a user interview tool, as a user research tool. I hope you found that brief overview useful. And yeah, that's really what I'm doing right now most of the time while my CTO is building my product. While my CTO is building the product, the MVP, I am talking to users, engaging with them, and trying to build a community around them, a community of interest, so that users can see that there may be a solution to the problem that they are facing. So that's it, guys. Stay tuned for the next episode of the Making Stuff Up show. And yeah, I will, in the meantime, continue working on my startup.